I'm Dr. Christy, and this is Climbing Fish Parenting, practical parenting strategies in 20 minutes or less. I'm a psychologist and behavior analyst, and I work with exhausted, overwhelmed parents who feel like they've tried everything and nothing works. If you're listening to this while folding the laundry, hiding in your car, or wishing bedtime would just end already, you're in the right place. Today's topic is validation. And look, I know what you're thinking. Great, another therapy word that sounds nice, but doesn't actually help when my kid is having a full meltdown in the middle of Target. I get it, but here's the thing. Validation is one of the most powerful tools you have for reducing those meltdowns, building your child's confidence, and teaching them to trust themselves. It's way simpler than you think. By the end of this episode, you'll understand what validation actually is, why it matters so much for your kid's mental health, and exactly how to do it in real messy situations with your real kid. Ready to transform your parenting journey? Let's dive in. Let me start by telling you what validation is not, because I think that'll clear up a lot of confusion right away. It's not agreeing with your child. It's not even approving of their behavior. And it's definitely not letting them do whatever they want because their feelings are valid. Here's what validation actually is. Telling someone that what they feel, think, believe, and experience is real, logical, and understandable. That's it. You're not saying they're right. You're not saying their behavior is acceptable. You're simply acknowledging that their internal experience makes sense given the situation that they're in. It's like saying, yeah, if I were in your shoes, I'd probably feel that way too. Let me give you an example. Your 8-year-old comes home from school and says, I hate my teacher. She's so mean. She never calls on me. Here's what most of us do, and I've done this too. Don't say you hate your teacher. I'm sure she's not mean. She probably has a lot of students to call on. You just invalidated everything your child said. You told them their feelings are wrong, their perception is inaccurate, and they should feel differently than they do. And I know you didn't mean to do that. You were trying to help them feel better or be more positive, but that's not how it landed. Here's what validation sounds like. It sounds like you're really frustrated. When you want to share your ideas and you don't get called on, that feels really unfair. Notice what you did not do. You didn't agree that the teacher is mean. You didn't say your child is right and the teacher is wrong. You simply acknowledged that your child's feelings make sense based on their experience. That's validation, and it's incredibly powerful. Here's what happens when kids grow up without validation. They learn not to trust themselves. They learn that what they feel inside might not be real or might not matter. They start looking to other people to tell them how they should feel instead of trusting their own experience. And here's the hard truth. A lot of us experienced this ourselves. Think about your own life as an adult. How many times have you asked yourself, do I really feel this way? Should I feel this way? Is this the right thing to feel? Maybe you look around and try to guess what other people in the same situation would feel, or what others expect you to feel. Maybe you trust other people's opinions more than your own inner experience. I see this all the time with the parents I work with, and it's exhausting. This happens because at some point, someone told us that we should not trust what our internal experience tells us. And now, as adults, we second-guess ourselves constantly. When we parent with validation, we build confidence in our kids. We teach them that their feelings are real and important. We lay the groundwork for self-validation, which is when you can quietly reassure yourself that what you feel inside is real, is important, and makes sense. And this is critical for good mental health. Kids who can self-validate grow into adults who trust themselves, set healthy boundaries, and don't need constant external approval to know they're okay. That's what we want for them, right? Okay, so how do you actually do this? Let me break down the specific strategies you can use, and I'll give you examples for different ages and situations. Strategy 1. Focus on the inherent worth of the person. This is about communicating to your child that they matter, not because of what they do or how they behave, but simply because they exist. With a preschooler, this might sound like, "I'm so glad you're my kid. Even when things are hard, I always want to know what's going on with you." With a middle schooler, "I know you're going through a lot right now. I want you to know that no matter what, you're important to me and what you feel matters." With a teenager, "You don't have to have it all figured out. I see you struggling with this, and I'm here. Your thoughts and feelings are always worth hearing." This creates safety. It tells your child that their internal experience is worthy of attention, regardless of whether you agree with it. Strategy 2. Observe. This is about truly listening, not half listening while you're scrolling your phone or making dinner. And believe me, I know how hard that is when you have 17 things happening at once. But I'm talking about being mindful, fully present, and paying attention to what your child is communicating with their words, their body, and their face. Let's say your 5-year-old comes home from preschool and throws their backpack on the floor. Their shoulders are tight, their face is scrunched up, and they stomp off to their room. You observe. You don't immediately jump to correction or consequences. You watch. You notice. Then you go to them and say, "I noticed you threw your backpack and went straight to your room. It seems like something hard happened today." You're not guessing. You're not assuming. You're observing and reflecting back what you see. With an older child, maybe your 12-year-old comes home and slams the door. You observe. You use good eye contact. You're present. And you say, "You seem really upset. I'm here if you want to talk about it." You're not demanding that they tell you what happened. You're not lecturing them about slamming doors. You're observing and making space for them to share if they're ready. Strategy 3. Describe. Non-judgmentally state the facts. This is where you describe the situation without adding your opinion, judgment, or spin on it. Let's say your 7-year-old is working on homework and suddenly throws their pencil across the room, yelling, "This is stupid! I can't do it." Here's what judgment sounds like. Don't throw things. You're being dramatic. It's not that hard. Here's what non-judgmental description sounds like. You've been working on that math problem for a while, and it's not making sense. You're frustrated. You're just stating the facts. No judgment. No telling them that they're wrong to feel frustrated. With a teenager, maybe they didn't make the team they tried out for. Non-judgmental description. You worked really hard preparing for tryouts, and you didn't make the team. That's really disappointing. You're not saying, "Well, maybe you'll make it next year," or "At least you tried." You're just acknowledging the reality of the situation and the emotion that goes with it. Strategy 4. State the unstated. This is where you name the feelings, beliefs, or thoughts that your child hasn't put into words yet. Your 10-year-old comes home and says, "My friend didn't sit with me at lunch today. They're trying to sound casual, but their voice is tight and they won't make eye contact." You state the unstated. "It sounds like that really hurt your feelings. Maybe you're worried that they don't want to be friends anymore." You just gave words to the emotion underneath the surface. And when you do that, your child feels seen. They feel understood. That alone helps them calm down. With a younger child, maybe your 4-year-old is clinging to you at the park and won't go play. You state the unstated. "You seem nervous. Maybe you're not sure if the other kids will want to play with you." Now your child has language for what they're experiencing, and language is regulating. With a teenager, maybe they're snapping at everyone and isolating in their room. You state the unstated. "You seem really overwhelmed. I'm wondering if something's feeling too hard right now and you don't know how to talk about it." You're not demanding that they tell you. You're offering a possibility and creating space for them to open up. Strategy 5. Find what is true about the experience. This is the most important strategy. And honestly, it's the hardest for parents. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You find the piece of their experience that makes sense, even if you don't agree with their behavior or their conclusion. Let's say your 6-year-old hits their sibling because a sibling took their toy. You can't approve of hitting, but you can validate the feeling underneath. You were playing with that toy and your brother grabbed it without asking. That made you really angry. When you get that angry, you want to strike out at somebody. I get that. Then you address the behavior. And hitting isn't okay. When you're that angry, here's what you can do instead. Notice what you did. You validated the anger. You acknowledged that the impulse to hit makes sense when you're that angry. Then you taught a different response. With an older child, Maybe your 13-year-old is furious because you won't let them go to a party. They yell, "You never let me do anything. You don't trust me." Find what's true. You feel like I'm treating you like a little kid when you're not. You want more freedom, and it's frustrating when I say no. That makes sense. Then hold the boundary. And I'm still saying no to this party because there won't be adult supervision. I do trust you. I don't trust the situation. But I hear that you want more independence, and we can talk about what that could look like. You validated their desire for autonomy. You didn't cave on the boundary. Both can be true. Let me be really clear about some common misconceptions because I hear these questions all the time. Validation is not permission. Just because you validate your child's anger doesn't mean you're giving them permission to hit, yell, or break things. Validation is not agreement. You can validate that your child feels like the rule is unfair without agreeing that the rule should change. And validation is not passive. You can validate feelings and still hold firm boundaries, give consequences, and teach appropriate behavior. In fact, validation makes those boundaries land better. Here's an example that ties it all together. Your 9-year-old wants a sleepover on a school night. You say no. They have a meltdown. You're the worst parent ever. Everyone else gets to do fun things except me. Here's validation plus boundaries. You're really disappointed. You were looking forward to this, and it feels really unfair that the answer is no. I get that. Pause. Let them feel seen. Then. And sleepovers on school nights don't work for our family. You can have a sleepover this weekend instead. But yelling at me and calling me the worst parent isn't okay. When you're calm, we can talk more about this. You validated the disappointment. You held the boundary. You addressed the disrespectful language. All three things happened. Let me give you some quick examples of how validation shifts as kids get older. Toddlers, age 2 to 3. You're so mad. You wanted the red cup, not the blue cup. Mad, mad, mad. Keep it simple. Name the feeling. Reflect it back. Preschooler, ages 4 to 5. You're upset because you wanted to keep playing and it's time to go. It's hard to stop when you're having fun. Short sentences. Connect the feeling to the situation. Early elementary, ages 6 to 8. It sounds like you're frustrated because you've been working on this for a long time and it's not clicking yet. That's really discouraging. More complex language. Acknowledge effort. Late elementary, ages 9 to 11. It seems like you're feeling left out. When your friends make plans without you, it makes you wonder if they even want you around. That's a terrible feeling. Validate the deeper worry underneath. Middle school, age 12 to 14. I can see this is really stressing you out. You've got a lot on your plate right now, and it feels like too much. That makes sense. Acknowledge the overwhelm without trying to fix it immediately. High school, ages 15 and above. It sounds like you're questioning a lot right now. What you believe, who you are, what you want. That's uncomfortable, but it's also really normal. I'm here if you want to talk through any of it. Validate the process of identity development. Here's what I need you to understand. Validation is not soft parenting. It's not permissive parenting. It's smart, evidence-based parenting that actually works. When you validate your child's internal experience, you teach them that their feelings matter, that they can trust themselves, and that it's safe to come to you when things are hard. And those three things, they're foundational for everything else you're trying to teach them. And here's the beautiful part. When they trust themselves and feel safe with you, they're far more likely to listen when you set a boundary, accept a consequence, or hear your guidance. Validation doesn't make you a pushover. It makes you more effective. Validation doesn't eliminate meltdowns or difficult behavior. I wish it did, but it doesn't. But it reduces the intensity, shortens the duration, and builds a foundation for your child to regulate themselves over time. And that's what we're really after here. You're doing better than you think you are. All right, that's it for today. Remember, validation means acknowledging that your child's internal experience is real, logical, and understandable. It doesn't mean you agree or approve. It means that you see them, you hear them, and their feelings make sense. If this was helpful, hit subscribe so next week's episode shows up automatically. And here's a bonus. Head to my website at www.climbingfishparenting.com to sign up for my newsletter. You'll get practical strategies like this delivered straight to your inbox. That strategy I just gave you, it's the whole climbing fish philosophy in action. There's a quote, "Everybody's a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it's stupid." Your kid isn't broken. Your parenting isn't broken. Sometimes we're just asking our fish to climb trees. That's what we fix here. I'm Dr. Christy, and I'll see you next week.